Hi there, Victor Pross, anarchist artist, talking to you today. Well, I guess the subject had to come up inevitably, the issue of anarcho-communism versus anarcho-capitalism. It's funny to note how this, the inspiration for this video got underway. A friend of mine on Facebook who had this very playful way of categorizing certain traits that I'm known for, and under certain categories, where he said, Victor, you're the 3 A's: atheist, anarchist, artist. Not necessarily in that order. But it's funny that I guess I've been challenged on the proposition that I'm an artist, maybe just a few times. That's to say that those specific people didn't care for my work, so therefore I'm not an artist. And in regards to atheists, there's been other people who said, well, that's your religion then, that's your God, okay, you know. And now recently I've gotten an email stating that I'm not an anarchist. So it looks like these categorizations that my friend playfully gave me, atheist, anarchist, artist, I have no right to claim. So the recent objection in regards to that I would, designate myself an anarchist was an outrage to this person who is a anarcho-socialist. And the reason why he would object to my making such a claim as a philosophical designation for the sake of economic categorization in an epistemological slotted area, to know in a certain encapsulation those principles that I would abide by, which is denoted by the word. There's a mouthful, but you can't say that forwards and backwards while eating Cheerios. But anyway, the reason why he objected so vehemently was that anarchists are said to oppose coercive hierarchies. So, if I'm sitting off there advocating and espousing and approving of property rights and capitalism, then by what right do I have to call myself an anarchist? And what comes to mind, of course, here is Proudhon's what is poverty, or what is property? And the inevitable answer is that property is theft. Proudhon being one of the original anarchist thinkers and writers, and I don't know too much about his works, but no matter. I think I can pretty much stand up to giving a defense and definition of anarchy, which I don't believe that there's any final word when it comes to such a thing. There's principles, and either you're abiding by those principles or you're not, but there's no final word, like some gospel truth revealed once and for all, and that it's absolute in a mystical sense. Philosophy, proper philosophy anyway, just like the scientific method doesn't come to final words on things as final arrival points. It's an ongoing investigation. Science studies the physical world, and philosophy, being much more of an abstract discipline, deals with the nature of reality and human beings' relationship to it. So you have within that metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. And of course, ethics leads off into politics. So these are the disciplines that science, the scientific method, and philosophy adheres to, not ideology in which there are certain dictums that have been laid down once and for all. They're immutable, they're final and absolute, as decreed by one person, is usually the founder of a given religion or ideology. That's religion, okay? That's not philosophy, that's not science. So, and that's why further thinkers have developed anarchist thought beyond the original anarcho-communists. And I would like to make my own contributions in a very small smidgen, hardly not of the erudition or depth that Stefan Molyneux would bring to it, but in my humble effort as wearing a second hat As a philosopher, I'm primarily an artist. I will make a stab at it. If you're at all interested, I hope you are. Okay, so now, dealing with the concept of anarchy as a school of thought, as a philosophy, and tracing back my own reasons for giving that philosophical designation to myself is why I be an anarchist, is because I oppose violent hierarchies. Okay, now when it's in the vernacular, or in current popular parlance, anarchy is said to be associated with disorder and chaos and so forth, but we know that that's just propaganda. But there's another definition that really gets to the core of it that's quite accurate, is that being opposed to government. An anarchist is someone who does not believe in a government. And for him, and that's a conclusion, what would be the reason to be opposed to government? Okay, it would be an ethical opposition. Okay, the ethical, now when we look at government and what it is, okay, we understand it to be a monopolization arrogated by a small elite of people who've appointed themselves as rulers and who've arrogated to themselves a moral and legal right to initiate force. Initiate, listen to the words, initiate. I don't want to hear this pacifism of crap again, okay? There's a difference between initiation of force and retaliatory force, okay? And the type of force that we are speaking here of is physical force, as imposed by a small band of ruling class, backed up by the various thugs that they have in their employ. Okay, that is what government is. That is what it does. So when I sit here and I say, yo, I oppose this institution, this violent institution, because I oppose violent hierarchies, so therefore I oppose government, and because it is a violent institution, it's a violent hierarchy. Okay, so that's why I oppose it. So if I oppose government, because for the reasons that I stated why I do, a moral reason, then I really feel quite entitled to cling to my breast the badge, the honor of designating myself as an anarchist. But let's just say that the anarcho-communist would grant me at least some titlement to the title of being an anarchist, to that extent, if he was that generous. He says, however, you are faced with a fundamental contradiction in that you have not opposed all violent hierarchies. You're off to a good start. You're off to a good start, but you don't oppose all violent hierarchies, which is in the case of private property and capitalism. So this is where we come to an impasse. And but as I would say, that what is fundamental here, what is fundamental though to the anarchist position, to the anarcho-capitalist position here, is the initiation of force, but physical force. Okay, now the anarcho-communists will state other categories of aggression, such as the fact that if you're a property owner, you'll have a factory in which you employ people and exploit them, so forth, and give them starvation wages or wretched working conditions. That's a form of aggression. Something has to be done about that. Private property, as such, is aggression. So, but we can get all into the details later. I want to keep these videos short and sweet and to the point. I'm going to do a series of them. Right now I'm just dealing with the issue of what the hell, let's get our head around this word anarchism, anarchy. So it's fundamental to the anarcho-capitalist position that when they oppose government, what they are opposing is force, the initiation of force, and the type of force that they're opposing is physical force, physical force. I don't know of one anarcho-capitalist who would disagree with me on that when they say, hey, I'm an anarchist, I'm an anarcho-capitalist anarchist, then that they would state some other reason why they oppose the government, because of that type of violent institution that it is. It's not a matter of a differences of opinion as to whether it is. If you're sitting there saying, no, we go on about the social contract, or I voluntarily pay my taxes, blah 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 blah, then you are, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure a lot of other people would agree with me, is that you are thoroughly entrenched in being brainwashed. So let's just get back to reality and understand what this institution is. It is a violent institution that plunders the wealth of people, imprisons them, and takes their very life if it so deems as necessary and fit, and arrogating to themselves a moral and illegal right to do so. Whatever checks and balances that they pretend to put in place, they still go by their favor. Okay, so now that is what I oppose, and it is for that reason that I am an anarchist, because I base it on a moral argument that this is wrong. Aggression is wrong. And I think that the specific anarcho-communists that I was talking to said, no, that's not the reason. It's private property, it's capitalism, it's slave wages, blah, 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 blah. It's not about the non-aggression principle. Well, if you consider these forms of exploitation as aggression, well, then how can you say you're not against the non-aggression principle? Okay, which is it? I mean, this person was contradicting themselves in the same paragraph. He would make a proposition, and the next sentence in the same paragraph would contradict his original stated premise. It's ridiculous, man. And this whole idea of that property is theft. Well, theft. How can there be such a thing as theft if you don't acknowledge the fact of property? Okay. But the issue here, I guess, is, I suppose, private property. Oh, the lone individual. It's an attack on individualism when you get down to it. But in this video, at least, I wanted to establish that much as to getting a grip on anarchism and my opposition to it, and the anarcho-capitalist opposition to it. But now we have to get to the issue of that what is made the original claim against me, that I am not an anarchist, is because I advocate property rights and capitalism, when properly understood and defined. Whatever's going through the mind of the person who has quite a different definition of capitalism as the type of mercantilism, cronyism that is so characteristic of it. I am not advocating that, but that's for another video. That's for the next video. So the issue will be property rights and capitalism in the next video. Thank you for listening. It's Victor Prost, anarchist artist, signing out. Pop goes the culture.